Yannick Ngakoue refusing to be a part of the Minnesota Vikings. Not really, although for all we know behind the scenes, he said, get me the hell out of here. If so, it worked. Yannick Ngakoue traded to the Baltimore Ravens by the Vikings. What they ultimately did, they gave up a second-round pick next year and a conditional fifth-round pick in 2022 to get Ngakoue from the Jaguars right before the start of the season. They get a third-round pick from the Ravens and a conditional fifth-round pick in 2022 from Baltimore. And Peter, as a practical matter, you're looking at a high second-round pick that the Vikings have given up to the Jaguars to get Ngakoue, and now what's likely going to be a low third-round pick back, maybe a two-round drop as a practical matter for the Minnesota Vikings from the failed Yannick Ngakoue experiment. They do avoid $6 million or so in salary for Ngakoue. That's money that can be banked and cap space that can be carried over to next year when the cap may be as low as $175 million. But the Vikings seem to be folding the tents, and it makes me wonder who else from that roster is going to be available in trade this year as the Vikings accept reality. They ain't making it to the postseason. They're not going to get full value for Yannick Ngakoue. They may as well pull the plug. Who else may they pull the plug on?
There's a couple interesting things about what Baltimore has done, in my opinion. If you look at the two players on their team who were Jaguars last year, they traded the 157th pick in the draft, in the 2020 draft, to bring in Calais Campbell. He is one of the very best, and maybe it'll only last for a year or two, we don't know, but he's one of the very best two-way defensive linemen in football right now. Stop the run and rush the passer. And now they get Yannick Ngakoue for what probably will be somewhere around the 90th pick in the 2021 NFL draft. So imagine you get two guys with that level of talent for a low 3 and a low 5. It's quite honestly, Eric DeCosta, the GM of the Ravens, done an absolutely terrific job because I think he understands the weaknesses of teams that he's dealing with. Right now, what you look at with Calais Campbell, you knew he was an older guy. The Jaguars say, we're rebuilding for the future. We'll take what we can get for him. And so DeCosta gets a guy of distressed value, even though he's still a really good player. And then almost the same thing with Yannick Ngakoue. What do the Minnesota Vikings want? They want to be in a better cap position when the cap plummets to $175 million next year. Mike, I think this could be the start of a really, really interesting trading season. Okay, and though there's more than a week to go before the trading deadline, which is November 3rd, I think you're going to see a lot of teams try to offload salary because they want to be in a better cap position in 2021 and 22. Not necessarily to get a lot better, and of course they want the draft pick, but it's more important right now for a lot of teams to do something about their aching, swollen salary caps.
And, the other reality as well, and this is something that I now challenge myself to have a firm answer on, but I've been pondering this question of the interplay between the trade deadline and the COVID-19 protocols, which are getting more and more stringent all the time. When's the sweet spot to pull off a trade? The trade deadline itself, I don't know that we're going to see trades then. I think the practical deadline is coming up next week, not necessarily Tuesday, November the 3rd.
No question.
Get ready for some more activity, because if it's going to happen, it's got to happen soon, because
we should really explain that. We should really explain that. Could I have a go at explaining that? Because I think it's really important for people to realize about why, even though the trade deadline is November 3rd, for all practical purposes, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you really needed Yannick Ngakoue in your camp last night or very early this morning for this reason. You've got to test negative on your COVID test for 5 consecutive days before you can join a new team. So in that way, the Baltimore Ravens have a bye this week. So if Ngakoue gets in and tests negative today, Friday, then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that means at the start of the practice week for one of the Ravens' biggest games of the year against the Pittsburgh Steelers a week from Sunday, you're going to have Calais Campbell on campus, in meetings, understanding this new defense he's got to learn for a full 5 days before he plays in his first game. Because, look, if you make the trade for him next Tuesday, he's not playing for you against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You needed to make the trade now so that he can get his COVID protocol out of the way so he can start playing in games for you.
And my assumption would be also that you can't even take your physical until after you get through the COVID protocol. So if the deal's going to fall apart, you want to know it falls apart so you still have time to trade it maybe to someone else, because we know how these physicals can be. One team may fail a guy, another team may pass a guy. That's another reason to move now, so you know that the deal is done and everything's official and everything goes through before you're at the point where the window closes. But that is a very real concern, and it was a perfect time for the Ravens and the Vikings to do this deal, because the Vikings are in their bye, the Ravens are in their bye, and they'll have Yannick Ngakoue when they emerge from their bye.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.